Shelter FootyCast is absolutely up and running. Mark Reddings, Will Schofield, bringing you all the biggest news in footy. Skeeter, how are you? Good to be with you.
Scully, this time next week, game one of the season, just make sure. With one thing I'm going to make sure, we're going to get sponsorship from Vicks or some throat lozenge to get your throat through the year, because you've got a lot of work, you've got a lot of talking to do, a lot of crap to come out of your mouth, and I want you to be smooth talking from the get-go. And if we can do that, we'll have a very nice podcast and hopefully stay on air through the whole of 2025 without being shut down.
It's about time you came with a bit of ammunition. I mean, seriously, it's taken you 3 shows to come at me with anything.
Well, I'm just used to being at home under siege, and to be honest with you, it happens in all forms, and you know.
I like your shirt. Your shirt's good.
The shirt, of course, honouring another one of my supporters in Paywise,
yes.
But Frank and the team.
By Paywise.
Yeah, absolutely. But the shirt, of course, when I left home this morning, my wife and daughter said, that's way too big for you. So I said, what do you want me to do? Put on 6 kilos in. I said, this is the shirt they sent me, so anyone from Paywise listening, maybe just send me, this might be an extra large, maybe just send me a large or a medium. I'm not.
You just get abused. I feel something. I mean, geez,
mate, no wonder.
You lead a tough life, mate.
Well, just living with the women I do, who I love dearly, as you know, they're great. They're great family, great girls.
But they give feedback.
Give me it's a daily character audit.
Well, it keeps you in line, mate. Keeps you in check. It's bloody good to hear. Now, Skeeter, I did say on Monday's show that we'd be doing a big season preview.
Yeah, we're building to that.
Well, plans have changed a little bit. Of course, public holiday on Monday, so I thought what better way to spend it than to do a 4 to 5 hour extravaganza live on YouTube, where we've roped you in for a couple of hours, I think.
Well, at least an hour, yeah. It is, of course, and we're going to be honouring the reason for the public holiday, which is?
No idea.
I think it's Labor Day. I think
is
it's
that right?
Yeah,
So we're going to work.
We're working, yeah, and in the media you do that, which is fine because we often take breaks at the end of the season. But yeah, so Monday, because we'll have seen not just the Eagles, the Dockers, their pre-season, all the pre-season matches will have wound up. And on Monday, we're only 3 sleeps away from round 1, as I said, or opening round, Lions versus the Cats. So yeah, really exciting.
So off the top, midday West Australian time, we're going to be live on YouTube on BackChat Studios. That'll be across the entire YouTube channel, live breaking down every team. We're going to be speaking to people on the ground in each state, experts on teams, because I know one thing for sure, you and I aren't experts on any of them.
I don't have that much interest in footy to talk about for that long, do I?
Well, we're going to try our best. So stick with us today. We've got some big issues to get through, but a huge pre-season wrap-up and season preview across BackChat Studios on YouTube. So make sure you stay tuned to that. If you haven't already, starting to see a little bit of an uptick in sign-ups for the tipping competition, Skeeter. Still haven't seen your name.
No, I've got a few.
Do you know how to do it?
Well, what you don't understand, in my house at the moment, I'm moving furniture so the painters can come in, so my wife can put their house on the market. Being involved in a footy tipping is not in the highest of priorities.
Why aren't you painting?
Oh, mate, these hands have got
yes,
they're smooth, they're very luscious. They don't do manual labour.
What are you protecting them for, though?
Just life.
You're a radio host.
I bet you there's blokes out there that are in the same boat as me. I'm not sure. There's too many like you who'd be in the. Would you paint the house yourself? Would you?
No, absolutely not. Yeah. No, you couldn't pay me enough money to do that. I just wondered why you weren't doing it. So our tipping competition is absolutely live. Make sure you're signed up to get the access code. You've got to be a patron of the Shelter FootyCast or BackChat for that matter. You get the code. You've got to be a patron all year to win the prizes. Now we're talking beers every week for the winning tipper. But the end of year prize, we've finalised it, but there will be more to come. It's the Busselton Extravaganza. 2 nights at the Hilton in Busselton. All you can eat and drink at Shelter, $500 voucher. We're talking around at the Par 3 golf course. We're out in the jetty, swimming with the fishes, and $1,000 cash to top it all off. Over $3,000 in prizes for the Shelter and BackChat footy tipping competition this year.
And you mentioned all those beautiful spots. You know what would be I just put myself in a little bit of a dream world for a second. Imagine just jumping in your car about midday today, being a Thursday, getting down to that part, the Shelter near the Hilton and all the little spots around there you mentioned, You got the long weekend to kick back. It won't happen for us because we're working, but wouldn't it be nice just to do that for a few days?
Southern River Band playing Friday night.
Tomorrow.
If you're in the area, get down to there. I'm not sure how many tickets are left, but shelterfootycast.com.au, that's where you can sign up to the tipping. Find your way on there. Okay, Will Schofield, Mark Reddings, Shelter Footycast. Okay, big moments of the round. Well, we haven't got into the round yet, but some big moments this week, Skeeter, we haven't had an opportunity to talk about. The biggest one over here in the West is Justin Longmuir's transition from coaching contract to ongoing employment agreement. How many ongoing employment agreements do you have? You've got a few of those.
I've got a few, which also means you can get the lemon pretty early in the piece as well. I actually don't know how to break this down. Suffice to say, we've had a chat about this previously. The bottom line is, if Justin Longmuir doesn't succeed this year in terms of win-losses, all bets are off. It's game over. In terms of if they don't make the 8, for instance, I think he's in a bit of pain.
So this is I've seen a bit of this chat, the ongoing employment agreement. He can get sacked straight away. What do you think was going to happen if he was on a normal coaching contract? He'd get sacked. If they want to sack him, they can sack him. There's a termination
6 month has been the norm for a lot of clubs. I'm not sure Fremantle is under that umbrella, but certainly there is that 6 month little caveat in place to ensure that, I guess, there's a little bit of security for coaches. Justin
Longmuir is motivated by, and heavily, I've spoken to him about it a few times, he doesn't like the ongoing chatter around coaching contracts. And, devil's advocate, you might say, well, bad luck, you paid the money, that's what you deserve. But he really wants to focus on his team and them winning games. So this deal does that. Freo get to sign him. Justin gets a contract. I think short term he actually gets paid more because he's foregoing the ability to sign a 3-4 year contract. And, if it doesn't go well, he gets paid out in that regard.
He's backing himself to go well this year, as you should do.
Well, he has to.
There's no question. Irrespective whether he wasn't signed to this new deal or not, you're right. It's a make or break here for him as a coach. And I don't know much about the inner workings of the Dockers, but I would suggest this, is that I think he's very popular with the players. I think that he's a popular member of the staff. I think all things being equal, no one would want him to be pushed out the door because of win-loss, because I think he's a really good bloke. Has he got the tactical nous on game day? If not, can he put enough people around him to maybe just bring out the next level of him as a coach, but also the team? So that might be in place already, and it hasn't yet come to fruition. We're one pre-season game in.
Let me give you the final breakdown. If Fremantle wins games of footy, plays finals, wins finals, Justin Longmuir is the coach for a long time. If they lose, start poorly, the pressure comes on, and he's probably out of a job. It doesn't matter what contract he signed, doesn't matter what agreement he's got under him. If they win, he'll stay. If they lose, he's likely gone. I think that's pretty simple.
I think if he has a bad year, I don't think there'd be any dare I say it, doomsday scenario where he would be out of a job mid-year. I think it'd have to go completely pear-shaped. I think, and there's too much quality there for them to be losing big time from the start of the year. Geelong away, they've got some tough games, but there's no easy draw per se. So, I'm with you. It's all about results, but that's nothing that we're not aware of.
What they need, and I hope they have this over the off-season and pre-season, what they lost last year, I think, was not the ability, but the willingness at times to go quicker. I think the year before we saw them make a run for top 4. And what was really exciting was their ball movement at times. It's not fast all the time, but last year in games they looked poor. They got bogged down both with the ball being intercepted and turned over too deep in their own field of play. And then once they did that, they didn't go to the open side. They got stuck on one side of the ground. We saw a lot of post plays, slow, sluggish type operation. I think they won't change their game plan 100%, but I think they're all smart enough to know in there that you need to have a gear to go to. Sydney have it, Brisbane have it, Geelong have it. Like the best teams have it. Hawthorn has it.
And so if I was to ask you, coming out of defence primarily, because that's when you generally get that quick springboard from defence into attack, you had Lewis Jetta as the player, from my memory, that was really good at using the footy and maybe changing the angles and opening up the middle of the ground. Is that fair to say at times?
Yeah, it is. But funnily enough, it's not always about kicking. Like teams with not extraordinary kickers can still move the ball quick, and it's actually about how you react as a player, and it's how hard you work
So is there a key player at Fremantle then that can be that
Jordan
Clark is the obvious one with the run and carry, yeah?
And we may as well talk about him now. Hayden Young's got a leg on him, but he's going to be missing round 1 with a hammy.
And he's more midfield,
Yes.
but mate, if you get the ball in his hands, it's almost like if you've got 3 options ahead of you and Hayden Young is one, and they're all sort of in decent position on the ground. Are you trained to go to the bloke that you know has got the best leg?
Yeah, but again, like it's not always about the kick. It's about your teammates, how quickly you react. When you win that turnover, it's got to be like a bomb going off. You got to have players bolting. So I'm thinking about Walker, quick, hard worker, Heath Chapman. Like these are all backmen, right? Quite often it's Luke Ryan with the ball in his hands. He's such a good intercept player. The rest of the team, it's on them to create options. Like Luke Ryan could be the greatest kick we've ever seen. If your teammates aren't working for the footy, then it doesn't matter. So it's actually about work rate. It's not about the kick. And I'm not trying to shut you down, but like Lewis Jett, a great kick, but if he's got nothing to kick to, it doesn't matter. So that's where really important players like, and I'll talk about West Coast, Chris Maston, Jamie Cripps, these are the hard-working guys. So intercept happens, they're gone. They may get it if no one goes with them, but what they do is open up space behind them through the middle of the ground. So you got to work hard. Like that's pretty much, it's pretty easy game, Skeeter.
But it's easy game, but if you do turn it over, with skill execution, we've seen with the Eagles more recently, you can go quick, but if you butcher the footy in any way, you can get stung the other way. So we were talking about the Dockers, obviously, and Justin Longmuir. I hope he's coached for the next 5 years, for what it's worth.
Yeah, so do I. I think stability over the long run wins out. You don't want new coaches coming in.
Great example. There's so many examples of coaches getting boned, but you look at Mark Thompson going back 2006, round 7, 2006-7, it's a period when there was issues off the field and the club went through a review. Brian Cook, they could have easily pulled the trigger on him. Mark Thompson stays. They break the premiership drought and go on to become a powerhouse.
And he's still the coach, Chris Scott. Right.
No, I'm talking about Bomber Thompson back in 2006. This is going back 20 years ago.
Wasn't listening.
No, that's not unusual. But this is 20. We're talking about teams that going through. Could we give him more patience? And that's the case. And look, and Chris Scott is obviously built on that.
Yeah, well, and they did the same thing with Thompson to Scott, right? That's where my mind went. They did exactly the same thing. So Geelong's a pretty good case study as well, given how competitive they've been over the journey. Skeeter, on Monday, I was banging on like I do about some things, but I thought it was actually quite smart of me. I came up with it on the spot. Hadn't thought about it too long. But why this SSP period? And is it SPP or SSP? I don't know.
I think it's supplementary player period.
That sounds like SPP to me.
Either way, we're not talking to two rocket scientists here. But Elon Musk is going to hire us anytime soon.
Yeah, the rocket surgery.
Hey, Jacko.
So supplementary selection period. SSP.
What did I say?
You said players period.
Supplementary selection period. Either way. So you've come up with this.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're still here,
try saying that 4 times quickly for what it's worth.
The SSP, it should be all year round, and then we can stop talking about it. It's just you can acquire players from these state leagues as you please. And this wouldn't be 50 acquisitions a year. This would be 10 because they're in the state leagues for a reason, and there'll be some that deserve an opportunity, but not all of them. But after me banging on about it, about 20 minutes after we released the episode, the AFL dropped the
window closing.
Yeah, they opened it back up again, and Jai Cully, former Eagle, was added to the Demons list to replace Andy Moners Wakefield, your man.
Yeah, look, it was the right decision, I think, to allow all clubs to have played that one last practice match before they enter the so-called serious pre-season, which is essentially one match. But yeah, I think it's a good idea, and I backed you with that suggestion. And you've now thought, that's right, I'm smart, I've got the good idea. So I'm sure. What? No, you can't. I backed you up, and now still I say, yeah, actually, you're right. It's a bloody good idea, and I've thought of that, and I didn't take much time to think of it. I'll go and see to the AFL, and they'll say, these are the reasons it's not going to happen, Scully. You can stick your supplementary selection player period or SSPP up your bum.
Well, I'm not asking for a seat on the board at the AFL. I just think it's a good idea, Skeeter.
It is a good idea. I like it. I'm sure there are reasons that it's not in place, though.
Yes, we don't know what they are. So, I mean, I just think great. Jai Cully gets an opportunity on AFL list. I don't see the problem in that.
It's good. It's great for him. He was pretty good during the pre-season for Melbourne.
Yep.
Unfortunately, injuries open the way, and that's how it sometimes turns out. So I hope he gets a decent run at it.
Yeah, very good. GWS, a little bit of action happening over this past week with contracts with them. Finn Callaghan turning down $50 million to go and play at St Kilda. And Connor Idun has just signed a new 6-year extension with the Giants. So, Finn Callaghan, Connor Idun, they're not top 10 players in the league. But what these guys are interstaters, for starters. They've opted to stay with the Giants, and they're building a nucleus of that era of players. And it's so important. That's what drives your club forward. Good players, not who's their best player? Stephen Cornelio and Tom Green and Jesse Hogan. They're going to have those, but you need that core underneath to drive it forward. And I think the Giants firming across all levels is a very good side this year.
Yeah, and you need players like Sam Taylor to stand up. Or obviously had a painful injury or two last year. You need your better players to be out there long enough. Bottom line is, this could go one of two ways. Just briefly for the Giants, they are in front handsomely against the Swans in I think qualifying final. 27 points up nearing three-quarter time, they get rolled. Up by 40 points plus against Brisbane, they get rolled in another final.
Could be a different story.
Could be a different story, but by the same token, has that sort of left any scarring? A bit like there's probably other clubs who are in that same boat near the top of the table.
Sydney, let's stay in New South Wales, would be one of those. Callum Mills, captain, missed a lot of footy last year with that shoulder injury due to a Mad Monday brawl. He has scans on his foot. He's got a tear in his plantar fascia, which is plantar fasciitis. This is the injury that players will go and jump off tables, beds, furniture to break fully.
Robert Harvey famously did that.
I saw Josh Kennedy do it. I watched Josh Kennedy at West Coast.
And how much pain was he when he jumped off?
It's bad when it happens.
No, but when he jumped off to fix it,
he could barely play. He was having 4 to 5 jabs in his foot to numb his foot to get through a game. He couldn't train, and he just thought, you know what, stuff it, I'm doing it. So he jumped off, and he said it was one of the more painful things he's ever done. But within a minute, all gone, and never came back.
Wow.
You lose some structure in your foot. So it's not recommended. It's not in any medical journal, but from a pain perspective, and this is the thing about footy, and not necessarily head knocks, but this isn't Mark Redding's Will Schofield playing indoor soccer on the weekend. Like, getting up and playing games is the utmost importance. So if you can get pain-free and you lose some ability for your foot to function at 100%, you'd rather that than 80% pain and you can barely walk during the week. So I don't know if Callum Mills has investigated this, but that's what that is. He's out until after round 4, which is not a good result for the Swans.
No. So the Swans, again, the skipper under doubt, question mark. You mentioned the Giants. Tom Green's got a calf, I think, so they've got a couple of injuries as well. So, this has been, maybe it's because we've been focusing on it more than ever, but it feels like there's been a lot more injuries during the pre-season than normal. Maybe I'm wrong, the stats might tell me incorrect, but it feels like there's been a lot.
Well, yeah, Hayden Young, that news came out. We know Sean Darcy at Freo is still out. Bone infection, a little bit more detail on that the other day. So I don't know how much of this has been reported, but yeah, infection, from a cut is bad. Infection in your bone,
that's pretty
very bad.
Yeah.
So not sure where that's going to go. Zach Butters, he's had surgery. He's out for round 1. So and I think actually there may be a similar amount of injuries, but there's some big name injuries. Carlton's been decimated early, which is not good for them. We know young player Jagger Smith out the ACL. So, Skeeter, before we get into a little bit of Fremantle West Coast stuff and speak about across the league what clubs and what coaches are under pressure and who's got a bit of a free hit, I thought a couple of bigger issues around the league and sport. First of all, we did touch on Taron Thomas on Monday. We and you, but absolutely fully back you here. You said second chance isn't on the agenda in your regards. Well, as of Monday evening, it came out that the Swan Districts here in Western Australia, in the Waffle, are giving him potentially a second chance with a train-on period.
Oh, I will correct you there. I think it's more than a second. I think he's had more than just like North Melbourne didn't just cut him after 1. So this is, and again,
he's not allowed to play in the AFL.
No, exactly. So the AFL have made a stand, and now Swan District's exploring the possibility, going through a couple of weeks of trials, etc. And look, you and I are both the same. The empathy is a pretty important thing in life to someone who can rehabilitate and change. I just think I'd rather see him go back and work full-time for 12 months. He's still a young man, prove that he can integrate back into society and not have this hanging over his head before trying to jump back into footy. I know it's what he does, it's his DNA. I personally wouldn't take him. We know how important he is, and look, in the last 48 hours we've seen that in the radio land about how important it is to show respect to women and women's programs. So, look, I think it's far from a done deal. The WA football authorities have sent a letter to Swan Districts to ask them to explain why he should be registered. That will play out. I think Swans will have a board meeting in the not-too-distant future. They may just knock it on the head. Sponsors might be running, female board members, male board members might say, no, we don't want to borrow this. So Swans, a leap of faith by them, absolutely. Was it something I'd do? Put it this way, no other club in the country at state league level has gotten to this level in terms of supporting Taron Thomas's comeback. The Northern Bull Ants went close, but not to be. So, yeah, I'm a no for reasons that I've explained before. But, it's going to be interesting to see where that one lands.
Yes, it is. It is a watch and learn with that one. I said it on Monday, but I think it is interesting territory to get into when we start, There is a line here, and you've drawn it, which is absolutely fine, and I probably have too. But there certainly is a line here with off-field indiscretions, and whether or not a league, a club, an industry accepts that player. So whether you like it or not, and I agree with you again, but devil's advocate here, there's a moving scale here. Does doing drugs stop you? Does getting put in jail for 100%? Assault?
No, I'm not saying this is an easy issue at all. And look, if Swans take him, and he proves to be a blessing in terms of on-field and more importantly off-field, then kudos to them. They've done it with Andrew Cracker going back, but that's 15 years ago. And I dare I say, I think community standards have probably tightened on what they expect from footy clubs even. So, yeah, as I say, it's not an easy issue. I'm not saying for 1 minute, but I'm erring on saying, listen, Taron, go back, work for 12 months in the community, not community service, just go back and be a citizen for 12 months. Let's see how you go in 12 months, and then waffle or AFL. If that's the case, you've shown that over a length of time you've turned the corner, which is what we want.
So you mentioned Marty Sheargold, changing tact a little bit, but it is actually in similar realms, not because of the female element, I don't think. It is because someone has done something and has lost their job because of it, right? If I talk about it broadly. But
so essentially, he was asked about the Matildas.
I'll give you a full...
the She Believes Cup, and you've got some of the details surrounding it. This is on Triple M in Melbourne. Marty's wasn't just a radio announcer. He's obviously a comedian, etc. So if you don't know much about Marty, that's his background.
So Sheargold said he would rather hammer a nail through the head of his penis than watch the Matildas play in next year's Asian Cup while discussing the national women's football team. There was a bit of back and forth with his co-host, some laughter. He asked, "Have you got any news on any men's teams?" It was. Sorry, you know what they remind me of, your 10 girls, or the infighting and all the relationship issues. The coach hates me and I hate bloody training. Michelle's being a bitch, rah, rah, rah. This is verbatim, by the way. Now, I'm sorry to undermine the whole sport, but that's what I think, so you can stick it up your ass. So, with everything, I suppose there's a little bit of context. Like you said, Marty Sheargold, he's not probably like you and I, even though you and I think we're funny. We're not comedians, and sometimes we're definitely not funny. But I guess that's the angle he's gone for here. He's completely missed the mark.
Yeah, it's an attempt at humour gone badly, very badly.
But I'm not going to sit here and judge that. What I would speak about in regards to female sport, and I'm no champion of women's sport, but I watch and call the AFLW with Fox Footy. We regularly have great female athletes on BackChat on our guest show, and the way I approach female sport is sport. I like watching girls play sport. I like watching men play sport. I think the product of the AFLW is very different to the AFL men's competition. You could say that about the Matildas versus the Socceroos. They're playing sport though. So the female connotations around it, which is ultimately why Marty Sheargold's lost his job, That's where the disrespect comes from. But it's very easily avoided by talking about it as sport. And speaking to a lot of the girls in the AFLW, especially here at West Coast and Fremantle, they actually want to be criticised. They want to be held accountable to their actions. They want to be critiqued like the men. They miss a target, they want to be called out. They make the wrong decision, they want to be called out. Just like I would when I'm calling the AFL, if someone does something incredibly stupid. So, for example, AFLW, I saw 2 players week after week go the wrong way. And I absolutely tore shreds off them because you're a professional athlete now. You play an AFLW at the highest level of the country and you don't know which way you're going. Just like Jamie McNamara, my good mate, came out for West Coast, went the wrong way.
I was calling it.
Shreds torn off, yeah. What did you?
I still laugh about it.
Yeah, correct. So this women stuff, I understand the community bounce back on this and Marty Sheargold losing his job. But to me, it's very easily solved. You just have to look at it as sport.
He was trying to be funny. And look, end of the day, as they misfired, the bottom line is the Matildas aren't maybe as good as what their results at the World Cup.
So you can talk about it like
which
that.
is true. They won 4 of 11. They've been poor at the She Believes Cup, which I know it's not a top-tier sort of full-scale tournament, but they've been pretty ordinary. They've conceded goals. They haven't looked great. That's a fact. I think they'll wear that. Look, that's the negative. The positive, forget even finishing that playoff for third in the World Cup here. It was about what they did for the sport in 10, 20, 30 years. So, look, Matildas, they've still got a huge support base. They've probably one of the most recognisable names in Australian sport as we speak, even still. So, look, yeah, they've got obviously standards in terms of on-field standards that they're probably not achieving as they'd like at the moment. They've got rid of their coach. Yeah, they deserve to be criticised for their performances, and that's about it. And you know what? Irrespective, there's a lot more bloody girls who are out there at the age of 6, 7, 8 that have got in their minds about playing for their country than there would have been 10 years ago, 5 years ago, before the Matildas. So, no, a lot of good quality things have come out of the Matildas. Marty missed the mark, and you know what? He's paid the price. And in the media, you tend to have to be careful about which line you head down.
His comments were unwarranted and unhinged.
Absolutely, yeah. It was
reading those out. It's like, what are you talking about here? Like,
yeah, exactly. And you know what? I just wonder if Kyle Sandland said that, would he have been given the arse?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm not a great listener of Kyle.
No, nor am I. But either way, no one endorses what he said. Triple M's made a stand, and again, we just sit back and say we hope the Matildas put that to one side and play some good football. I think they've got a match today as we speak over there, which they can't go any further in the tournament. But yeah, once Sam Kerr comes back into the mix, they'll be a better side.
Let's get back into the footy. Will Schofield, Mark Reddings, Shelter FootyCast. Fremantle and West Coast playing over the weekend. Skeeter, you coming down to...
Not going to Bunbury, no. I mean, I'm having a day off. Sunday I'm going to Mandurah, just venturing down the highway on a Sunday public holiday.
You like Mandurah?
Yeah, I go there occasionally. Okay. Not all the time, but I go there for a lot of waffle, and yeah, it's a good part of the world.
Yeah, I think too. I'm down in Bunbury for the West Coast game. You're going to be covering the Freo game, which we can both cover off on Monday. But I had a little look. We start seeing sort of first 18, who's going to be playing round one type list, and I thought just a little bit at Fremantle and West Coast. Who's those guys? There's 5 guys probably fighting, 5 to 6 guys in each side fighting for 2 to 3 spots. And it happens every year. You've got your 16 locked in. We know Jeremy McGovern plays an halfback for West Coast. We know Tim Kelly, Harley Reid, they're going to be starting in the middle for West Coast. But there's a couple of positions on the ground every year that this weekend, it will be decided by this game, more than likely.
And I think a lot of it revolves around either the small forwards or the talls for the Eagles, the young talls who are coming through, and the small forwards. And if you actually just write them down, at least on paper, and if they develop some of these younger players, they've got a feast of small forwards at their disposal, the Eagles. So it's about choosing who's ready to go.
So I think there's 2 spots in the West Coast lineup for these 3 players. So I think Noah Long, Brockman and Owies are the 3 guys going for 2 spots, one on field and one sort of bench, the 7th forward. Of those 3, I think they play Matt Owies purely because they've recruited him to the club, and I think they want to give him the first opportunity, because I think it looks strange to recruit someone to the club and then not play them round one. You might say, we'll just play the best players. I think they're all pretty level.
Okay.
So if you have to do, well, then if they're all level, who are we going to pick? Owies plays, and I think Noah Long plays, which Brockman, he kicked 3 goals in their practice match. If he does that again this weekend, kicks 3-4 goals,
it's a headache.
He plays round one.
But hang on, if Long play, so if he kicks 3 goals, Brockman, who does he play ahead of?
One of the other two.
I'm about to say, what if Long has a ripper?
Yeah, well, no, that's what I mean. It'll come down to who plays well. Yeah,
it's actually you think of it. And I'm looking through the list. They've got a bunch of small forwards that, they're actually blessed for depth in that department.
Well, Petruccelli I haven't mentioned, but he was in the Rezzies in the game, and I don't think he jumps ahead of these 3. And so he's, someone like him, he's 2 back from a position there, been on the list for quite a while now. So
he's probably looking, well, can I get into the team as a wingman or something?
Yeah, or a backman, or
exactly.
That's what you start doing when I've been this guy. You start going, can I play fullback, or maybe I'll go on the wing, or maybe go play forward, or where can I get a spot? So, and that's the discussion that happens there. And the other one at West Coast is the 3rd tall spot. So I'll say ruck and 3rd tall, because Waterman and Allen are full forward, centre forward, locked away. But they're going to play a 3rd tall, in my understanding, and they'll play a ruckman. So there's 4 guys going for 2 spots. The 4 guys are Bailey Williams, Flynn, I've written Williams twice, Archer Reid, and Jack Williams.
Jack Williams,
Jack and Bailey Williams. So who do I think is going to get it here? I think Bailey Williams is the ruck.
Yes, I agree.
And I think they'll play Archer Reid as their 3rd tall. And I think that's disappointing from Jack Williams' point of view.
I love Jack Williams. I think he's shown a lot. But Archer Reid, having seen him in the waffle, and you've probably seen a bit more of him this pre-season, how he's developing, he's someone that is a real smoky as to what he can do in the next 2 or 3 years.
He's 204 or something like that. Like, he's big. He's not going to have a breakout 50-goal season this year.
No.
But I think they like him. They played him as the 3rd tall in that practice match I watched on the weekend. So he was with the starting 6. He started on the ground as the 3rd tall. So I think right at this moment he's ahead. But again, Jack Williams comes out, kicks 5 goals against North Melbourne in Bunbury. He plays round 1. So that's why it is interesting to watch these games. Because if someone goes and has a standout game, not saying that, is it Kako or Keiko?
Keiko, Isaac Keiko. 14 disposals, 4 goals for Essendon.
So I'm not saying he wasn't going to play, but he's locked himself in.
He's in.
Do you know what I mean? Like, with one game.
Yeah.
So that's why it's big. On Fremantle, give me the lozenge. Fremantle, I think they're pretty much locked away, other than one spot in the midfield, and it's because Hayden Young's injured. If Hayden Young was playing, I think their team's done. That spot now, though, is up for grabs, and there's 4 guys.
So you say one spot. So on that basis, does Luke Jackson ruck with support from Reedy? Is that how you're reading
Reedy
it?
rucks with support from Jackson.
Oh, so you don't think Reedy is obviously Reedy if he's playing?
If Reedy plays, he's your
it
ruck.
Has to be a first ruck in that sense. Yeah.
They really want to do that. They want to play Jackson forward, and to do that, they need a ruckman, not Josh Tracy chopping him out.
No, true. And he's too valuable to be exposed into that position.
Yep. So the 4 players that I think are fighting for a spot, for Hayden Young's spot, Matt Johnson, Neil Erasmus, Murphy Reid, the debutant if he plays, and at the other end of the scale, Nat Fyfe, 2-time Brownlow medalist. I think those 4 fighting for one spot.
For one spot?
Yeah, I just think the midfield's locked away. Sarong, Brayshaw. You're testing me now. Who else is running through that? But
so on that basis, you've got, as you say, Sarong, Brayshaw, No Young. The midfield group, you're saying that there's only one spot for a player of the like, say, so Nat Fyfe, Murphy Reid, for instance. That's what it could come down to? Yeah,
so I think the forward line, like Shea Bolton, is locked in. So the reason why, right now, Caleb Sarong, Andy Brayshaw, Hayden Young are the 3 mids. Hayden Young's missing. Shea Bolton, Michael Frederick, Josh Tracy, Luke Jackson, Sam Switkowski and Jai Amos, that's the forward line. So Shea Bolton runs through there a little bit. The bench spot, I'll give you 2 spots then. Matty Johnson I probably have on the bench already. So Matt Johnson, Erasmus, Reid and Fyfe, there's 2 spots between the 4. And who gets them? I think they play Fyfe And I
Is he
think
going to be right to play?
And I think they want to play Murphy Reid.
I think Murphy Reid does play. Obviously, you haven't got a player like Cooper Simpson in that mix just yet, but he's sort of...
Fife as a sub?
Yeah.
I don't know what his fitness is like.
Pending his fitness after that arthroscope, etc. So, yeah, look, and in brief, David Mundy, irrespective of his fitness, had Nat Fife missing round one, which is a big call. I mean, it takes some kahunas to leave a dual Brownlow medalist out of your side and go with a younger lineup, for instance, with Murphy Reid, if that's the case. But yeah, I think you're right. I think Fife will be in that side somewhere.
I haven't seen Murphy Reid play. I haven't seen 1 minute of him play.
I've only seen highlights, but he has.
I don't even know what sort of player he is.
Well, I think he's mid/forward. He's got that. Put it this way: I thought Cooper Simpson had shades of what he could do with, but Murphy's obviously.
But Cooper Simpson's is a quick side-to-side guy. Murphy Reid bigger.
A bit bigger, yeah, from what I've seen. And again, I'm a bit like you. I haven't seen a lot of him, but the highlights, he looks, as I say, he can get through congestion. He looks the part. And I know we've gone to the Fremantle Dockers, but, Bo Allen, for instance, we didn't mention him, but we think he'll play round one, possibly as a sub, but I think he'll be in that mix. He'll be in the side.
They played him in the back line, so... they had him in front of Ryan Marrick on the weekend. Ryan Marrick played in the back line on the other side, but they started Bo Allen in the starting 7 back. So they like what he's doing. I think Tyrell Dewar from West Coast. I think he and Jack Hutchinson were probably 2 guys that we haven't seen in the team every week that I think will play round one. It'll be interesting though. Keep your eyes on the practice matches. I think that'll tell a lot, and those sorts of guys on the fringe, they're going to play well to play round one. Skeeter, I thought just before we get into some listener feedback, there's a little bit of it as well, Skeet. I did ask for some more feedback, and it has come. I just thought quickly, given we're not doing a season preview, I just thought maybe a club or two that you think's under the most pressure this year, and whether or not that aligns with coaches under pressure. For season 2025, and I'll give you some positives as well. We can do maybe someone will exceed expectations and who's got a free hit as a coach, but let's start on the negative. Who do you think is under the most pressure as a club?
I'll give you 4 clubs.
Is that too many? The pressure cooker. No, I like it.
Okay, so not in any particular order, but given the WA element, Fremantle has to be under pressure to play it in the finals. That's a given from a WA perspective. Overall, the Bulldogs, I think the assets on them this year, if they don't come up with a result in terms of playing finals, winning a final, Luke Beveridge, the list is there. We know Jamari Ugle-Hagan, his future, a bit of a question mark. They've got some injuries. So the Bulldogs, and I'll put the big 2 in there. I think Carlton, there's a few question marks against them as to they need to find a way to not just make the finals this year. They've had injuries, and that's going to make things a little bit tougher for them. And because they've recruited so heavily on the now and not the future, they've taken players instead of picks. Collingwood, a 4th team that I think has to be, if they don't play finals, then they're not going to get any better with the team that they've got in terms of, in 3 or 4 years, they've decided to to go chips in, haven't they?
And they're off the cliff, are they?
Well, they're the oldest, or close to the oldest list in the competition, and what we saw last night, you'd think they'd play finals. But, we're a long way off that. So, but I think Collingwood, Carlton, Bulldogs and Fremantle are 4 clubs that have got a bit of the Bunsen burner.
I agree on those, but if I could add, and I've got them as a lock to play 8, but the Gold Coast Suns have to have pressure, mate. They've never played finals. They've got Damien Hardwick, ultimate premiership coach up there. They've got one of the best midfield lists going around. They've got talent all over their field. They've got a huge home ground advantage. And I said all of those things when I locked them in the 8. If they don't do that, I mean, this is a pressure year. It has to have pressure. They've been irrelevant. They have to have pressure.
They've got the Bombers first up, who are always good early in the season, but they've got them at home, and then they've got the Eagles away. So the first fortnight, they won't decide their season, but if they can get away to a 2-0 start, the other reasons go, and look, you've been up there, but and I know the Gold Coast like the back of my hand. They've got the Gold Coast Bulletin, page, they've got the Titans and all the other NRL stuff. They're sort of 4 pages back inside if they have a shocker and they get a soft run.
They need pressure.
But they don't have it because of where they live. And if they were playing in a AFL heartland, they'd be, it'd be great for the footy club because you're right, there'd be fingers pointed in the media, by the supporters, as it turns out, the potential, it sounds like my footy club, Perth. Oh, this year's going to be the year we push up. It just hasn't happened. Until you see it, I don't trust them yet.
Yes. Coach under pressure. I'll give you this, Skeeter. Look, I think Michael Voss is under pressure this year on the back of you having their club under pressure. I think Michael Voss becomes under pressure because of that. And I think Matty Nix, given the length of his contract he's had, the time he's had with that team, the lack of performance. And Adelaide, if we're talking about footy towns, that's a footy town. Port Adelaide have actually probably taken the pressure off a bit
100%.
by doing what they've done. Matty Nix has huge pressure on him this year.
I agree. Let me add, following that, I think Simon Goodwin at Melbourne, and so many positive reports coming about how they've gelled together after a tumultuous postseason, etc., Petrarca and Oliver, etc. So I think Simon Goodwin, if they don't play finals, and if they're, for instance, from 12th to 15th, there's going to be question marks about him long term. Ross Lyon, not so much, but I think you've summed it up. Nick's under pressure. Michael Voss, not so much. Brad Scott at Essendon, and of course Justin Longmuir.
To have pressure, you have to have expectation. The reason Ross Lyon's not under pressure is no one expects St Kilda to be good.
No, that's fair shout.
Who will exceed expectations this year? You only get one team. I don't want the whole bottom 10 like you just gave me for who's under pressure.
I'll give you an explanation that actually goes outside, a 2-second grab.
I knew that was there. I just knew it. I want one team, and
take one.
And I'm going first.
I'll go first. Don't
my
pitch
voice is going well at the moment.
Beautifully.
Expectations exceeded Essendon. They can't. They'll take you.
No, you didn't.
Essendon, I expect to be challenging for finals this
mid-year,
year. And I think that
they'll fall away.
Maybe, but no, they won't fall away, and they'll exceed expectations, and they'll play finals. And then that's not. I'm not locking that in, but I think people aren't necessarily expecting them to play finals.
Okay, well, I'm taking a different tack, and I'm absolutely got no idea whether I'm going to be right or wrong here. But I think, how many games did North Melbourne win last year?
They won 3.
Yeah, so I think they will exceed expectations and win, say, 8 games.
So I think their line, not
that you're looking
responsibly, might have a season bet on already. 5 wins is their line. Expectations is 5. You're taking the over.
I'm taking over on that basis.
8 wins. I don't mind.
Is that a crazy call, North?
No, it's not. But I think they would exceed expectations. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very good. Free hits. I think Dean Cox has a free hit.
Yes, it's very unusual. A team that makes the grand final gets smashed, but the next coach or the new coach has a free hit. A free hit in terms of making the 8. You don't want to be missing the 8 after making a grand final.
No, but he has the team there to make a grand final. Like he could easily win a premiership in his first year. Not easily, but
Chris Scott did that.
Yeah, well, exactly right. And Dean Cox has that opportunity, but there's not the pressure because it's it's his first year. What's he meant to do? So I think he's got a bit of a free hit. Skeeter, Mark Reddings, Will Schofield, Shoulder FootyCast. I'll tell you what, Skate, I asked for feedback and it has come. If you'd like to send feedback into the Shoulder FootyCast, I'd love to see it and hear it and then speak about it. FootyCast@backchatstudios.com.au is our email. We love questions coming through. Please send them through. You can put comments on our Instagram or YouTube. YouTube, you know what to do. Shoulder FootyCast is our Instagram handle. So let's get into it. Is work experience, this is from David, is the work experience kid Monday going to be an ongoing thing? That youngster with Scully has a future in the industry.
Who's that idiot?
That was from David.
Good on you, David. Thanks for supporting me. Good on you, David. Thank you for just... And you know what? He did it in a very nice way. It was a very nice way. I like that.
Oh, Philip on YouTube says, Skeeter looks a lot like Mr. Burns from The Simpsons.
I might quit this podcast before the end of March. That's how because I'm getting belted at home, getting belted here.
This is from Trish. Now, Trish, I will tell you, she is an absolute gun. She loves BackChat, Shoulder FootyCast, one of the greats. And I take what she says as gospel. And hello, Trish. Thank you for getting in touch. Mate, she's a champion. Hello, Scully and Skate. I was listening to the Shoulder FootyCast in the cars. I didn't have time to watch earlier today. However, I then had to come home and watch YouTube to see Skeeter's hair. Now listen, this is from Trish, who is, mate, I'm telling you it's gospel. Just listen.
We need to keep talking about this crap.
Just listen.
Oh.
Go back to grey. It's the in colour these days, says Trish. After losing all my hair due to chemo in 2023, it grew back grey and curly, and she loves it. Get lots of compliment as well. It's great having you both back on again. Will, I'm doing really well in remission, so I knew Trish had gone through cancer and told that to absolutely F off, which is bloody brilliant. She's planning her next cricket trip to the Caribbean in June and July, so she gets over and travels around. Have a great year, boys. Love from Trish.
Yeah, good on her. And you know what?
I'd listen to Trish.
A bit of humour there, but let's hope that she's winning the battle. She wins the war. We're joking about me putting a bit of stuff in the sideburns, but yeah, she's been through hell, and to have her drop that note. Hey, listen. I reckon I'd love to be on that trip to the Caribbean as well. It'd be a bit of fun because I've been to the Ashes 2 years ago in England. Trish, you've got to make sure you go in 27, I think it is, to London to watch if you love your cricket.
Stop positioning for a seat in the plane next to Trish.
Well, she can give you some more advice. Yeah. And she looks about the nicest person I can speak to at the moment.
Trish is a champion. Thank you very much, Trish. From Derek, incredible what one bounce of football. Oh my gosh. Incredible what one bounce of the ball can do. Had St Kilda won that 2020 grand final, they may have had a run of success and be a destination club. This is off the back of our chat around, trying to get people to the club right now.
Bear in mind, that's 15 years ago.
That's a good point.
I was at the ground. Anyone who wasn't barracking for Collingwood that day was barracking for St Kilda. Like if you're a Collingwood fan, so yeah, I've really got some good mates with St Kilda supporters, and yeah, it's tough. And whether they would have been a destination club or not, but there are going to be some people that go through their lives. So say if you're born in 1967, makes you 55, 50, that you're not 100% certain you're going to see your team win a flag in your lifetime in the AFL, which is supposed to be about, and this is not a go at the AFL, about equalisation and having theoretically one team win a flag every at least 15, 16, 17 years.
But as Derek says, that ball bounces the other way to Milne and they can go and they win a grand final. But yeah, I know.
There's a lot of it. But going back quickly, since 2000, there's been 3 clubs have won four premierships each. So
and now Hawthorn's on the way back up.
Yes, and they've taken 2 minutes and now they're going to be contenders again. So yeah, some clubs get it right. This is not a knock on. Correct. Some clubs get it right, and many do not. 2
years ago, media was full of what's Sam Mitchell doing. He's culled the list. Can't believe he's doing this and that. And now Hawthorn are bloody premiership favourite. So
and the same could happen with Richmond. They might struggle to win a game this year, or more than 2 or 3. But hopefully they show patience with Adamuze. They've got a young group coming through. There's going to be a lot of pain. But yeah, from Tigers' perspective, in 2030, it's a fair way off, but that would be a period I reckon. Hopefully, if things work out, you can challenge.
On this same topic, Scully, you failed to mention the difference in financial future ventures between different clubs. St Kilda can't offer the endorsement opportunities players can get playing for a Carlton or a Collingwood. It's not just a list issue. St Kilda arguably have a better list than Collingwood with 1 or 2 years as players retire. That is from Maud Reader.
Not sure I agree with a better list than Collingwood. I mean, I haven't broken it down, obviously. I do agree with the notion that going to how much pain St Kilda supporters go through this year when they see Tim Membry kick 30 or 40 goals potentially. I mean, but Carlton and Collingwood are more destination clubs in Melbourne. Whether that is translated into, when Eddie was president, getting those opportunities through the media or through other aspects in their business life.
I think that more players than maybe you're giving credit to, Morderita, are motivated by winning than they are by endorsement deals. I know endorsement deals are great, and we see Bailey Smith at Cotton On and a few others around town, but the other 80% of guys are there to win. But they'll get paid and they'll get looked after nicely at St Kilda.
But Bailey's also, forget that, he's not gone to Geelong just to sit back and not win a flag. I imagine that's his primary reason, because they have been successful for so long, haven't they?
Bailey Smith's a bad example because I think he is there to cash in. But
I think that's all he's there for.
Oh, yeah, potentially. But point taken, and I agree with you. Just maybe not Bailey. Couple more, Skeeter. Would love your call on Oscar Allen this pre-season. For myself, watching training, match sims and practice matches, he is great at getting over the back marks on goal and is still a great contested mark and good lead, but his defensive side is so poor. Doesn't chase at all, doesn't block. when he should, and his movement is poor. Basically, he's a woeful on-field leader. Thank God Duggan is a very good leader. He used to be so good at the little things. Now he does not do it anymore. So that's re 1997. I'll answer that one. I think the comments around his offensive ability are correct. I think he's one of the best contested marks inside 50 in the game. His incredible forward craft. I think by watching him, although I don't disagree at the extent, he may have... I think his knee injury has been serious.
So the mobility factors at ground level?
May have, you put that much effort into the offensive side of the game that he may have lost a step defensively.
So tell us a comparison, only because one followed the other, but Josh Kennedy v. Oscar Allen.
Yeah, I mean, Josh was always... It was a big part of his game forever. And I don't know if it's been a massive part of Oscar's game. And, to finish my point, I don't think it matters that much. Like... You don't need him to be Willie Rioli defensive pressure. It's not his game. You need him taking contested marks and marks over the back. If you can do those two things, don't need to defend. So, although I think the observation's correct,
and he could improve.
Yeah, and it sounds like our audience member has been down there and watching, because I think you're actually on the mark. I don't think it's that important. And to say he's a woeful on-field leader, I'll completely disagree with that. I've played with him. I've played against him in match sim. Great on-field leader. And so is Liam Duggan for that matter. So
there you go. So, and you know what? You have played alongside these guys. That's why I do laugh. Some people putting captains, be it in footy,
yes,
be it Pat Cummins, or be whoever it is, and they think they know the person. You do, and when you do get to know them, and if the person who's throwing out the shade actually gets to know someone, they go, oh, actually, this bloke's or woman's a pretty decent character and leader.
It depends how you judge on-field leadership as well.
Exactly.
But so, yeah, I enjoy the comments. Keep them coming. You can do it on YouTube, do it on Instagram, Shelter FootyCast, or you can send us an email, footycast@backchatstudios.com.au. I'll finish with this one. Skeeter, agree with Scully about Josh Tracy being a top 5 forward in the competition by the end of the season. Has all the tools, but Skeeter, a top 3 in the comp is ludicrous. Charlie Curnow, Jesse Hogan, and Jeremy Cameron all in their prime. I think the hair dye must be seeping into Sleepy Joe's brain.
So who's that?
It's from Jack.
So Jack, so you're saying he's definitely a top 5, but no way he's a top 3. I mean, Jack, don't have $1 each way, you numpty. Actually just put your kahunas on the line and actually have an opinion. Oh, he's definitely top 5, but I'm not sure about top 3. I mean, give us a spell. Charlie Curnow's not even start the year in round 1. So, yeah, who knows? I'm just saying there's more upside in Josh Tracy than there is in Jesse Hogan, Charlie Curnow, and Jeremy Cameron. Have you had enough? Because I want to go. I've had enough of everyone.
Have you had enough? All right. If you're in Busso Friday, make sure you get down to the shelter to watch our good mates, the Southern River Band, Cal and the boys. If you're down south over the weekend, come down and watch the footy. Saturday in Bunbury, Sunday in Mandurah to watch Fremantle. Sign up to the tipping competition. Skeeter, you've got 6 days.
Yeah, well,
right? You can win it. I'm telling you, you can win it. You're allowed to win it. $1,000 cash. You can't tell me you don't want $1,000 cash.
No.
2 nights at the Hilton.
I'll just go and do a cashy somewhere.
No, you're signing up, Skeeter, and if you want to, you got to get onto shelterfootycast.com.au, sign up as a patron, you'll get the code to join, and you can be in the running for $1,000 cash, plus the Busselton Bonanza offered up by Shelter, $500 at the venue down there. And Skeeter, that is us done and dusted.
Yeah, can't wait for Monday. It's a footy marathon. It's a 6-hour extravaganza, like a telethon, basically. We're just sitting here talking footy and hoping that you can join us. You can join us. You'll be able to ring in. We'll be taking calls. I'm not joking. I'm not joking. So if you're not doing anything Monday, day off, Jaden's looking at me with eyes like, I don't know how we're going to do that technically, but I'll make you do it, Jaden. You want to call Sleepy Joe and have a chat, you can do that on Monday. We'll see you then. Midday, YouTube, BackChat Studios for the AFL massive preview. Mark Reddings is very happy about it. Thanks, you, Elon.